Really excited about today's video because I'm going to be doing a kind of a modern shag haircut, and I posted a video on Instagram yesterday, even here on YouTube, my community tab, asking which haircut that you guys liked best, and a lot of you actually commented on which one you liked more, which was the haircut I'm going to do for you. And I know a lot of you were, do the haircut. So it's going to be a kind of a modern shag where we're going to have some length to it. This works great on straight hair. It could work really good on wavy hair. I'm spraying in 25 spray, which is kind of like your essential multivitamin for your hair. 25 benefits. Excellent for someone who's got dry hair, damaged hair, longer hair, shorter hair. You want your hair to feel amazing and look healthy, then 25 spray. It's been around for a very, very long time. I'm also using my anti-static vent brush so I can just easily glide through this and give me a good kind of base to get rid of the knots and stuff like that. So, all right, when it comes to this type of haircut, the first thing that I like to do is I like to establish the length first. Now, this mannequin right in through here has a very, kind of short forehead, right? So the bangs may seem a bit shorter. If you have a larger forehead, then you could go a little bit longer as far as the length goes. But if you have a shorter forehead, just keep in mind that if you cut these right to here, the fringe or the bangs are going to be really short. So I have to put that into consideration myself. But I'm going to try my best to create somewhat of a modern type of shag. So I'm going to also leave a little bit of length in the back, and it's going to be really, really awesome. So here we go. First section, and the first spot that I like to do all this in is right here in the back. And when I cut hair, I'm always making sure that I separate the front from the back, creating my division point. This way I know which is the front and which is the back. And typically, 96% of the times, it's usually right behind the ear, right in through here, right? And the way I do that is I usually just comb the hair down like so, and I push the hair from the bottom, and you can see that it wants to split, right? So you push it, hold it down, and then the hair will split. And that will kind of determine and show you and separate the front from the back. And the only reason I do this is so I have a clear vision and a clear map of where I'm going with this haircut. I do want to leave a little bit of length throughout the back here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to comb this all down, and I'm going to vision where I want this length to be. So let's go about right here. Now I'm just going to cut this straight across. I'm not even using my hands or anything. I'm just cutting a blunt, straight line just to get this hair out of the way and to help me establish a little bit of a guide so I see, all right, this is going to be the length throughout the back, and then everything else I can work into this shape. So now I'm going to work into the sides right through here, and I'm going to comb this all down. Now, this is going to be somewhat of a long-ish type of haircut. So I'm going to make the length about, let's say, about right in through here. And now I'm going to angle my scissors going downwards like that. Now, there's this length right here. There you can see. And for the front, what I'm going to do is I'm going to comb this down, and I'm going to determine how short do I want to go in the front. Well, let's go fairly short. So let's see, there we go, right there. And I'm pointing my fingers upwards. So by pointing my fingers upwards, my fingertips upwards, that's actually allowing me to cut up, right? It's allowing me to angle my fingers and angle the hair going upwards. And if need be, I can go in like this, and I can freehand this just to make it a little bit shorter. And if I do freehanding, the thing is that a lot of times I'm not going to use my fingers or my hands to hold the hair. I'm just going to actually just cut it. And sometimes I get the straightest lines and strongest shape from just using the comb, not even using my hands or fingers to hold the hair. It's crazy. All right, so here we go. Now I'm going to cut my way upwards, and I'm envisioning where I want this to be to try to match the other side. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to actually comb and cut up on an angle, just like that. And here I'm using just a comb, like so. And now I'm trying to shoot for even Steven. Let's see where we're at. Believe it or not, I am fairly accurate in one shot. Cool. You can also call me Steven one time. Stevie one time. There it is. All right. Now, just for adding some finishing touches on the length. So you can see the front here. Let's bring this all the way down and just slightly longer right there. And there we go. So let's bring all this, I'm going to bring all this hair forward, and I'm going to just kind of make sure that I'm checking the balance to see how everything is. And I'm going to cut off any little pieces or corners that I feel need to be a bit more balanced. And here we go. So the good thing about this is that, sometimes I like to leave a little more length in the hair in case we need to cut a little bit more off. And this is just the foundation, right? So I am going to be cutting quite a bit more hair off, but you can see just by me creating this shape down and through here, we've got a good length. We've got, the hair in the back that I was looking for. So the base is created now. Here is where I go in and start to work the layers. Now, this particular haircut, and in the mannequin, or the model I showed yesterday here on my community tab or even my Instagram page, there weren't a whole bunch of layers, okay? They were kind of more square layers, and everything was a little more soft down and through here. So I'm going to create a longer layered shape, and how I do that is I'm going to comb the hair all straight up, starting from right here in the back, and I'm going to take a horizontal section. And I also just want to see, now when getting your hair cut, and if you are getting layers, keep in mind the shorter that the layer is cut, right? The shorter the layer is cut, that's where it's going to fall. So if I were to cut all this hair off on top, this hair is going to fall here. Okay, that's where it's going to fall. So like I mentioned, I want to leave somewhat longer square layers, and I'm also looking to clean up those dead ends right there. So I'm going to just do that. I'm going to cut off whatever I think is the proper amount. And I also need to realize that, the fringe here, the front, has to somehow blend in with the back. So that's another thing to consider. But in my opinion, it's always good to go from shorter in the front to longer in the back. You can't go wrong with that, okay? So what I'm doing now is I'm just establishing my layers, and I've created my first 3 panels. And if you are interested in learning how I cut hair and how I do layers, I do have my own courses, which down in the description, I have private courses that you can purchase to learn how I do haircuts. I also have my new ebooks that I created, one for men's hair, one for women's hair, teaching you haircutting shapes. They're only $10 each. And I just launched, which will be including a haircut like this, my first ever lookbook for winter and spring 2025 of trending haircuts, 12 trending haircuts that you can look. And I also left descriptions under each haircut of the best face shape it's for, a description of the haircut, the style that goes with it, what product could be used. And that's $25, and I spent a lot of time creating this thing. It's super, super cool, really, really detailed, and it's the first of its kind. And that's also going to be here. You can purchase all this stuff right here on YouTube. So now I've created my length as far as the layers go, but I haven't done down into this area. So I always like to create, the layered shape up and through here, and then I go down and I remove the weight throughout the bottom here. So I'm going to comb all of this straight out from the head, like so, and I'm just going to find, there it is, and all of this hair is what needs to come off, right? All of this is what I cut just now, and what I need to cut off is where that last piece left off. And now I'm going to go all the way down to the bottom, and there is going to be a lot of length, a lot of weight. But you have to make sure that when you go all the way down, and if you're somebody, say you're a client getting your hair cut, and you always notice that your hair is so heavy, it's because of this. Look at all the weight there in that bottom. It's because the people who are cutting your hair aren't going all the way to the bottom like this. And I just switched my hand positioning. So that makes it a little bit easier for me than going all the way over like this and breaking my back. So what I'm doing on this is I'm pulling the hair straight out from the head. And a lot of people as professionals refer to this as 90 degrees, right? Pulling it straight out from the head. I like to follow the way the hair grows, which is out from the head, right? The hair grows out from the head. So that's how I like to cut it. And I've noticed that the hair grows better that way as it grows out, and the haircut keeps its shape. So that's one thing I do suggest is that if you're going to get a haircut, a layered shape like this, you want to make sure that, the hair is being cut the proper way. Okay, so now what I'm doing is I'm combing the hair a little more straight back towards me to retain some of that weight in through the corner and through here, because I do want to keep that. I don't want to get rid of that yet. And now I'm going to cut that off. So one last section right behind the ear, and I'm going to pull this back more towards me this way, because again, I want to retain some of that weight in through here, and there's a very specific purpose why I'm doing that. And there's all that length. So what's going to happen is all this hair is now going to come forwards like this, and there's still going to be a lot of weight, which is going to be here in the corner that I want to get rid of. Not length, but the weight. So this side is done as far as the layering goes, and now I'm going to do this side. So once again, combing everything straight out from the head and following the pattern. So let's go on this side now. There's the hair. Let me know in the comments below, are you a hairstylist? Are you, a client? Do you enjoy watching these because you want to, go to your hairstylist or your barber and say, hey, look, cut my hair like the salon guy, watch this video. I love to know what you get out of my videos, And I have over 3,000 videos now on YouTube. So I appreciate you all these years. And 15 years I've been on YouTube, believe it or not. I'm a dinosaur, an OG dinosaur. All right, so combing it straight out. I'll do one last section right down in through here. Again, I'm just changing my body position so I can cut palm to palm, which allows me to get a little bit closer. Because at my age, I want to maintain my back, my posture. Over the years, I've seen so many people just throwing that arm over and just going way over the top. And it's like, oh my gosh, how are you able to even stand at this point? If you've been cutting hair for 25 years like that. So body positioning is really, 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 really important. Okay, now we're getting more into the corner. And here we go. I'll do one last section right here behind the ear again, the division point where the front and the back meet. Hello, sides and front, nice to meet you. So let's comb this back. There's the length. Okay, one last section right in through here. And let's do one more down throughout the bottom here. And there's a whole bunch of weight right there. All right, now, I don't want to go into the sides yet. However, what I want to do is I want to work on this part more internally in the haircut. Now I'm going to take a diagonal section like so. And I'm going to now work my way downwards and just remove those corners right in through here, which is removing some of that built up weight. So I'm removing some of that. Now, here we go. There it is. And I'm working into the length right down through here, as you can see. So I'm combing the hair on a diagonal, and I'm combing it straight out. There's the guide, and I'm combing down into the weight in the nape area. Once again, all of this hair down through here. And let me know in the comments if you've ever gotten a haircut and you go home or something and you're like, why is it so heavy? Like all this is layered, but it's so heavy on the bottom. Like it feels like a whole different head of hair on the bottom. It's simply because the person cutting your hair is not doing all of this, right? They're not going to the extent of this and removing that excess bulk, right? Cutting all the layers on top of the length. That's what all this is. It's weight, right? It's all weight down through here. That needs to be removed. So let's go on this side right here. Gonna comb this on an angle. There it is right there. I could just see it. All of it that needs to be removed. Right down in through here. And I'm cutting to the corner. Okay, I'm cutting on top of that corner, aka the weight, because you want to leave the length. Okay, next section. There it is. And now my fingers are pointed downwards. Okay, the fingers are pointed downwards. And here I could see it right away. Look at all that weight right there. Boom, there it is. Now I'm getting rid of it. There it is. Boom. Okay, next section. Cutting on, again, horizontal, kind of diagonal sections. And now I'm just getting rid of it. So it's all about feeling, right, the hair, working it, working the shape in. And now I'm just going to go in now vertically, and just double check everything. So again, these are kind of like more somewhat square layers in the sense that I want everything to have the weight removed down in through here. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to continue cutting, following this angle all the way across, seeing any parts that need to be trimmed up. And there is a little bit bulk right there. So that's what you need to do. You need to be extremely thorough with all of this. Look for every single little piece of hair that, you know, has a place to live, to make sure everything is flowing beautifully. Especially on hair like this. This is very, very, very straight, pin straight hair. So you need to be extremely thorough with everything. Double check it, you know, cross check it, triple check it, comb it in different ways, all that kind of stuff. And that's what I'm trying to do here, is make sure I really am thorough with everything. All right, so what I want to do is now, let's just double check everything here, make sure it's all good. I'm going to comb the hair, and I'm just going to feel, I'm going to purposely try to bunch the hair up in certain areas so I can feel for any sort of weight. And I'm just going to keep pushing forward like this. There. All right, cool. And I'm going to go back like into all this stuff. Now I need to connect the back into the top. So there it is, and then here is where the layering begins. So hello, top of hair, nice to meet you. Let's make this connection right there. There it is. There's the longer hairs right there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut everything and just take a little bit off. So I mentioned that I'm going to be cutting possibly square layers, but I just want to go in and just skim that top off, because I want to make sure there's no dead ends. Yeah, just want to cut that because there's still hair that needs to blend into the fringe, right, or the bang area, which is what I'm working on right now. And all these little wispy dead ends, that's what needs to go. Okay, so combing this all straight up this way. Hey, there's that wispiness, and there it is. So now what I want to do is, again, I mentioned the square layering, so I'm going to try to keep everything more this way so the layers are a bit longer down into here. And how I'm doing that is I'm letting the hair come all the way down, and I'm leaving that top, right? So I'm leaving the corners, which is creating more of a square look, and I'm cutting into this so that the layering and the shape is going to be more throughout the bottom down and through here, right? It's going to give it that softer kind of look. Typically, I cut the hair out from the head, which is more round or 90 degrees. But for this particular look, I want to create more of a square shape that weighs down the hair a bit more. So let's go all the way to the very, very bottom, because we can't. It's the same thing in the back when it goes to the sides, right? We can't neglect all of that hair that is just sitting there collecting weight. So you can see now, because of that, I was able to create a softer texture right in through here, as you can see. Okay, so I am going to do this once again like I did on the other side. Let's go in on a angle, and I'm just going to try to remove any of this excess weight in the sideburn area. I want to make sure that I'm preserving that length right there. Okay, comb this out like this. Perfect. And the key to good haircuts, and notice if you go into your hairstylist or your barber and you notice that he or she is really, really going and combing the hair in all different directions and really taking the time to be thorough, right? Kind of like exactly what I'm doing, and go over each section and this and that, then you're going to be able to appreciate, you know, what's happening, because the haircut itself is going to come out looking a little bit better, right? It's going to look better. It's going to be more thorough, okay? So you're going to have a better experience. Let's do this side now. Once again, as I mentioned, we're going to be cutting square. And here we go. So flat on top, and the layers are down throughout the sides here. Okay, here we go. And there it is, all that hair right there. Perfect. Following the pattern and following the guide. That's really what this is. It's just connecting the dots. Connecting the dots, and this is great for someone, maybe if you have an oval face shape or rounded face shape, right? And you're trying to camouflage the roundness a little bit. You're trying to skinny down the face a little. You don't want it to look so full, right? Then the square layered shape like this would definitely work out pretty well for you. Because hair cutting, it's all about, you know, creating shapes. And you have to create the opposite shape of what you're trying to hide or camouflage. If you've got a really long face, right, you don't want to create something that elongates that, or a high forehead. You don't want to do all that because it's just going to make it look even, you know, longer. So it's going to accentuate that more. You don't want to do that. All right. So here's where all the magic happens, where I'm going and cutting everything to make sure that it's got that nice flow. Everything is working out good. And then lastly, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create my blended shape right in through here, and just make sure and check everything is connected. Little bits of hair may need to come off. That's no big deal. This is just checking to make sure that everything is balanced, right? So I'm combing all that hair on the other side, combing it, combing it, combing it. Skim that little bit right there. Same thing on this side. Let's comb this all up. And you may see like little bits of hair. That means that, good, we're even Steven today. Let's comb this all up here. And good to go. All right, so now what I want to do is I want to blow dry this, and I want to just check out and see how everything is laying, right? So let's brush this all back off the face here and see how it's reacting. You can even get a little closer here. See how this is reacting in through here. I'm going to go in with this when this is dry, and I am going to add a little more texture. So I want this to be a little more flat in through here, which is why I left the weight right there. And, you know, in the photo, again, the hair was kind of out like this, right? These pieces were out, just like that. All right, now, I am going to use my Sleek Serum. This is a smoothing and healing serum. This is the updated version 2025. The most incredible smelling product you'll ever smell. So work this through the hair while it's damp, and then when you blow dry, your hair will be very, very silky smooth, and it'll look a lot healthier because it's a repair serum. There's a lot of important oils in here that are going to be really, really good for the hair. So I'm making sure I get all this through, and then I'm going to blow dry it. All right, first thing is I'm gonna take my thinning shears and I'm just gonna remove any sort of excess weight down throughout the bottom, and I wanna just kind of make it a little closer to the head down and through here. Okay, and I'm doing this by just going in and just slightly removing some of this excess bulk. Okay, even though the hair itself is a bit on the finer side, it's definitely fairly heavy, okay? But I am removing some of this weight in through here, as you can see. It really did a good job. All right, let's go this side. I'm going in here, and I'm just kind of feeling it, right? I'm feeling where the hair needs to be, the bulk needs to be removed. And I'm gonna do that right in through here, because I can feel the hair is really heavy. But I'm only doing it down in here, notice. I don't want to remove any of the weight on top, right? Because this has to be weighed down a bit. So instead, I'm trying to soften this up in through here so that I can have a little more flexibility when it comes to styling it and stuff. Okay, and that's what I'm looking for right there. There we go. If I want to use a razor, I can use a razor just to kind of taper some of this down. Again, make it a little skinnier, right? And through here, that looks a little heavy. That one piece. This is a, modern, I would say, a shag. And this is for men's hair or women's hair, it doesn't really matter. It's a unisex haircut. But yeah, let me know what you all think here. Again, this mannequin, I'm not a fan of these particular mannequins, unfortunately, but I have so many of these that I had purchased that I'm like, I gotta get through these things because there's a box of them. So I'm like, I gotta get through these, right? You could even tuck it kind of more behind the ear like this, flip this out here if you want, and you flip it by just kind of going in with the hands and just lifting, right, and separating. And then you have the pieces, right, as you can see right in through here. Same thing on this side. Let's go in and get these pieces. Let me know what you all think. If you want to purchase any of the products, once again, you can get them right here in the YouTube store, right here down below, or shop.thesalonguy.com. But let me know if you enjoyed this haircut, this is something you want to do. Don't just walk into any random barbershop to get this. You need to find someone who really understands haircutting and creating shapes, because it's really, really important to create like a nice, fluid, awesome, textured look. Right? This is something that's a bit more of an advanced haircut. So, I would say that just walking in randomly, don't be, just do your research. That's all I'm going to say. Do your research, and you'll have a good result. So, thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time for more videos with the Salon Guy.